This is the new Aoocci BX motorcycle navigation system with blind spot detection built in. I've had it fitted to my Norton Commando for a few weeks now, doing some testing, and I found a few problems with it that I'm going to show you. Now the first problem is with the Dashcam recording. If you have the unit set to miles per hour, it's faulty. Here I'm riding my Commando just under 20 miles an hour, and you can see that on the BX screen, and you can see it on my speedo as well. The problem is, if you look down there, I've overlaid the dash cam and that shows that I'm doing 30 miles an hour. That's recorded on the SD card. Here's another example. I'm doing about 60 miles an hour and the dash cam footage shows that I'm doing over 90. Can you imagine showing that to the police or your insurance company? That is not a discussion I want to get into. Now there is a fix for this problem. You have to go to the Aoocci website, download the firmware file, take the SD card out of the BX unit, upload the file onto that, put it back into your unit, restart. That doesn't fix the problem. You've then got to repeat that with a second firmware file, and then it's going to fix this problem. The problem is when you're doing that, it's going to wipe all of your connections to your tyre pressure sensors, to your radar for your blind spot detection, so you're going to have to reset all of that again. It's a pain. I'll put the link below so you can download those files if you've got one of those units already. There is an over-the-air update. Apparently you can do it through the app. It didn't work for me. I had to do it through the files. So if you've got one of these units already, I recommend you do that firmware update as soon as you can, especially if you're riding in miles per hour. If you're riding kilometers per hour, it's not a problem. If you run into any problems, leave a comment below and I'll do my best to help you out. The next problem I found was with the blind spot detection. So here's a bit of footage. I pulled up at the lights and you can see a car approaching from behind, and look on the screen, it switches to the rear dash cam so I can see that vehicle approaching. So that's good, happy with that. Here's another example, again coming up to the traffic lights, a van behind me, dash cam switches to show me that van's approaching at speed. So again, nice little bit of warning there. Now here's an example where it doesn't work at all. See this car here moving right through my blind spot, no warning at all. Second example, same stretch of road, see this white SUV, again, right in my blind spot, moves through, no warning at all. Now I sent this and some other test footage to Aoocci to investigate. They explained the way the system should work is if there's a vehicle in your blind spot within 20 metres behind and 4 metres either side, and it's moving more than 10 kilometres an hour relative to the speed of your vehicle, you should get a warning. My tests show that doesn't always work. Here's another example where I don't think it works as expected. So you can see this red vehicle in my blind spot, get the alert, great, but then it sits in my blind spot, there's no warning. Personally, I don't think the speed that the vehicle's travelling should make a difference. If the vehicle's there in my blind spot, I want to know about it, and in my opinion, that's where blind spot detection should work. I think blind spot detection could be a great feature and a real lifesaver if it works properly and as expected. And I do have it fitted to the bike according to the instructions. Here's a picture of it. It's not pretty, it's on the number plate. Maybe the vibration is affecting it somehow. Again, I did send the footage to Aoocci and they didn't say that there was a problem with the way it was mounted. So I really don't know what's going on with it here. Now just to explain, Aoocci did send me this unit as a freebie to review with the intention of uploading this video. And they also gave me a code so that if you bought it, you would get a discount on it and I would get a commission. I guess it's the typical YouTube influencer thing. Much as I would love to get commission, don't get me wrong, my advice to you is save your money on this one, honestly. And if you're finding this video useful, if it's helping you make a decision, could you do me a favour, please click the like button because it will help it spread to other people who might be thinking about buying it as well. Personally, I think people need to know not just about the good stuff, they need to know if there's problems with tech like this. Here's another one. So the unit is advertised as having a quick release bracket. Yes, to a certain extent it is quick release, but it's not as I would like to see it. It slides off easy enough. You push a little button in, the main unit slides off, but then you have to detach a wire, you unscrew the cable, give it quite a pull, and it'll come loose, and then you can take the unit away. And I can imagine that after you've done that a few times, that cable is probably going to wear. You might have problems with it down the line. And not only that, the end of the cable that's left on the bike is left exposed to the elements. There's no cap on there to stop water ingress, and again that could cause problems down the road. What I would have liked to have seen is something like a TomTom or a Garmin. I don't know if you've seen those. You can literally just push a button, slide the unit off. There's electrical contacts there, no other wires. you can walk away with the unit. That for me is what quick detach is. So you've got dash cam cameras that don't work unless you do a firmware upgrade. Blind spot detection that, in my opinion, doesn't work as it should. And you've got a quick release that isn't really quick release. For me, on a unit that costs $500, those are three pretty major flaws, in my opinion. Even with a discount, which is 22% that Aoocci are offering, that's still under $400 for the unit. And if you take away the blind spot detection, you can reduce that by $100, but it's still quite an expensive unit. And Aoocci do know about these issues because I've been emailing them over the last few weeks to try and get some of them resolved. And to be fair to them, I've told them I'm going to publish an honest review, and they haven't put any restrictions on what I can say, so fair play to them. Now, as I mentioned, there's stuff I like about it, and I'll get to that in a second, but just a few other quick little things that I don't like about the unit. First of all, the glare on the screen. The first time I mounted it to the bike, took it riding in the sun, it was like looking into a mirror. What I did in the end is I bought a matte screen protector that fits an iPhone. It's a similar size. It doesn't look pretty, but it does cut down the glare, so that helped. Also, I noticed when I first took the unit out of the box, the compass didn't work. The on-screen compass just always pointed north. Again, pointed this out to Aoocci. They included that with the firmware update, and it does now work. To be honest, it's not really as useful as I would like. It's really difficult to see that compass. It's tiny. I'm not too sure how useful it would be. And just generally, just having the speed and the tyre pressure on the screen, for me, isn't really useful. I've got a speedo. The tyre pressure, I don't need to know what the tyre pressure is all the time. I just want it to give me a little warning if it goes below or above a certain threshold. But as I mentioned, there are some things I do like about the unit. It's not all negative. The screen is really responsive, even when wearing riding gloves. It's a touch screen, you can navigate around pretty easily. It's all very responsive, pretty snappy, so I'm really happy with that. I like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto I'm sure is the same. I like having Google Maps. I could mount my phone to the bike. I did have it mounted to the bike with a quad lock at one point. That destroyed the camera on my iPhone, so I won't be doing that again. The Commando is a pretty vibey bike, so I'm quite happy to have the unit there and have the CarPlay displayed in that way, so that's a good thing. And the tyre pressure monitoring, I always try to remember to check my tyre pressure before I go for a ride. I don't always manage to do so. So having it there, that's a pretty good feature. And it was pretty easy to fit to the bike as well. The instructions were really clear. All the cables were colour coded, made it nice and easy to fit. So that was a positive. So all in all, I think you get the idea that I don't really recommend this unit. And I appreciate that I'm not going to earn any commission, and I'm fine with that. If you found it useful in helping you make a decision, you could always buy me a coffee. I'll put a link below. I'll give you a shout out on the channel. Failing that, again, if you just give me a thumbs up on the video, it'll help it spread to more people and hopefully help them make a decision. So don't expect too many more review videos. This might be my first and last time as a YouTube influencer. I think I might go back to making videos about Norton again. As always, I really appreciate your support for the channel. Thanks very much, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.